So we all know that balancing is important, and it's gains in importance as we get older, and we're all getting older, so no like age shaming. And there are many different ways that we can balance other than just like knee up or tree pose. So for this video, what we'll do is go over different exercises that are balancing and strengthening exercises, maybe some mobility exercises as well. And then you can practice these on their own every single day. Just remember to like listen to your body. And when I'm doing balancing practices, I love to have something stable right next to me. So that way I know that I have support if I want it or if I need it. So I'm just going to use the back of this chair and put it here so that I have just something that I know I can hold on to if I feel a little wobbly. Take a breath in. Notice how tall you're standing. Find your neutral spine, and then make sure that your feet are pointing forward. Your feet are at hips width distance. One of the most important things in balancing is the standing foot. And that's opposite than a lot of times what we think. Like we just want to get the leg up high, right? And find this like as high as possible thing. And that really is not as important as the ability to keep foundation on the standing side and then your spine neutral. So please move slowly enough so that you're paying attention to all of the things. Foot foundation, that standing leg strength, the engagement of the core stabilizing muscles is huge. Core stabilizing, right? And so there's a lot of different things to pay attention to. Take your time, work into and up to different exercises, and most importantly, just have fun with it. Another thing that I really love about balancing exercises is that if you're paying attention to all of these things, it's really hard to be thinking about something else. So it's another exercise for like mindfulness and just paying attention to what's happening right here. So the first thing that we'll do is a warrior 3 position. So this is where you can hold on to something if you want to. Take whichever foot you like to start with, down on the ground, and then take the other leg back behind you. So start with your toes down on the ground, find foot foundation and leg strength in the front leg, hug the waistline in, and then as you lower the torso down, lift the back leg up. Spread the back toes really wide. You could absolutely hold on to something. If you're holding on to something, challenge yourself to not put all of the balance in your arms, right? Like we're not using the arms as much as the rest of the body. Keep your spine neutral. Notice the wobbling, the work happening through the standing foot. And then you lift back up. With control, you place the foot down, and you're going to switch to the other side. Take your time. Keep the standing leg super engaged with the knee soft. And lift back up. So, not fast, lots of attention to detail. And you can do this alternating from side to side for as long as you're able to keep your spine neutral and to stay in control of the way that you're moving your body. Soften through the jaw. We're adding in some mobility through the hip here in that back direction. Notice if your body's leaning to one side or the other. Make sure that the back lifted toes are spread wide so that the foot stays active. Let's do one more time each side. If you need to move your hips a little side to side, you can do that as well. So once you get mind to muscle engagement and that connection, you could keep doing this like one leg switching left to right side and moving really slowly, right? The other option is you could just stay with one leg and then kind of bird dog it, take the torso down, leg up. With control, you lift up and you just keep doing it one side for a few times. And then switch to the other side. So just something different. Watch how you're approaching the exercise. Like if you're kind of being overtaken by the ego and thinking that you just need to move faster, like the number of times that you do it is the goal, then just ease back and maybe change something so that you're being more deliberate in the movement that you're doing. And then when you're finished, you just shake it out, right? Move your hips side to side. You can stretch, roll the ankles around. It's also a nice stretch for the bottom of your feet, up into the Achilles tendon, and for the calves and back of the lower leg. So for the next exercise, we're going into a wide straddle, and again, you can have something next to you if you want to. Keep your spine neutral the entire time, so the abdominals and trunk muscles support your neutral spine. Bend, let's start with your left knee, into the speed skater, feel a stretch, take your time. And then engage through the waistline, lift yourself up, and bring your left knee to tabletop. With control, you lower, and step back down, bend the knee, lift back up, knee to tabletop. So if you feel safer having something to hold on to, please give yourself that support. And this one we are staying on one side, meaning once you start moving the side that you start with, you finish out that side before you go to the other side. Do as many on that side as you can, staying aligned, staying engaged, staying in control of the way that you're moving your body. It's time to switch sides or to take a break when you feel like you're crashing your foot down, or the foot comes down and you're already like leaning over to the side, or to come back up, you're like way over like this, right? Those signs that you're fatiguing and that you need a break, pay attention to them. Be nice to your body. So then we'll switch, bend your right knee, speed skater, big stretch through the left leg. You lift up and bring the knee to tabletop. When you switch from the left to the right side, it might take a couple of times to like work out the creakiness or the like unsure part of the movement, and that's fine. Again, this is not about fast. It is all about control, finding your balance, mobility, and strengthening muscles. And you'll do that side, same thing, try to balance them out. If it helps you to count, maybe do 10 on each side or 5 on each side, whatever works for your body today, then that's fine. Just try to keep them balanced. And then when you're done, you stand up, shake it off. Anytime we're working and balancing, a lot of times we tighten through the tops of the shoulders, up into the neck and into the jaw, so you like let it go. Sometimes just this, and you breathe. The next balancing exercise, I would highly recommend having something just to provide you with a little bit of stability. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it. One will be with your feet on the floor. The other one will be with a yoga block or some sort of a prop that you can stand on to get your 1 foot higher. It's the same exercise, just in a different way. So stand tall, bring your right foot forward, toes down, and then what we're gonna do is bend the left knee, trying to keep your hips really still, activating all the way up the left side, and then squeeze up straight, you can bring your foot down. You're gonna stay on one side here. As the knee bends, work to keep the knee right in line in that parallel line, so think ankle, knee, and hip. And this really fires up through the glutes as well. So hips stay level and square, the spine stays neutral. You might hinge forward because you are taking your butt back, and that's fine, but keep the abdominals engaged. And you only bend down as far as you can go, keeping your knee in that parallel position, and then you squeeze back up straight. So think of like if you've seen pistol squats, this would be like a modification or a work up to the pistol squats. And so you'll do a few on that side, 3, 5, 10, whatever you can do, staying very engaged, and then you'll switch to the other side. Left toes come forward, right foot stays super active, you bend the knee, take your hip back, you'll feel a stretch through the bottom of your foot, maybe up into the Achilles tendon, and you squeeze up straight. The left and right side may feel totally different, so be sure you have support nearby. Keep the waistline engaged. And then when you're balanced on each side, shake it off. The variation that you can work up to is to stand on a yoga block. As you do this, if you don't have a block, you could use a book or something that just gives you a little bit of height. It's the exact same thing. We're just changing our stability slightly, right? So it's the exact same thing. You bend down, keep the spine neutral, squeeze up. If you have delicate knees, just watch that as you bend, shift a little more weight back, and you don't want the knee to slide forward, right? So watch that. And then if you know that you have like knee issues, only go as far as you can go before you find that pain zone, right? We don't want to go into the zone of pain. And then you'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Shift more weight back, and you stand up. That one's hard. Give yourself space, work with your body, work through the exercises, and notice how much like the trunk muscles are just working to hold your body really, really still. The next thing, and we do it quite often in classes, is a quadricep stretch, which you have the option to move into dancer's pose. So you grab your foot behind you, stand up tall, and just work on your balance here. Again, paying attention to your standing foot and how much the standing leg is working to hold you. From here, you absolutely could push the foot back and hinge the torso down, just changing your balance, also changing where you feel the stretch. I love to have something in front of me when I move into dancer's pose because it takes some of that scariness of balancing out, which actually allows me to focus and to work more on the balancing rather than like just being in this place of fear, like I'm gonna fall over. Make sure you do both sides. Move slow enough so that you can listen to what your body's doing. And when you're done on both sides, you can do it again if it feels good. Shake yourself out. Breathe, and just let it go. That's an important part of our practice, right? The ability that we practice things that can be physically challenging, mentally challenging, and then when it's done, we let it go instead of carrying it with us or holding on to this judgment or criticism that your body's not good enough or strong enough or whatever story you're telling yourself. Next exercise, a little bit of a stretch here. So find your left leg in front, bend the knee and find a high lunge. Have your stability in front of you. So this is a take on our warrior 3, only also working deeply into the front leg. Keep your spine neutral, hinge the torso forward, front knee stays bent, and then you start to shift your weight into the front foot, lift your back leg up, straighten the front leg. Bend the front knee, take your back foot down, and then lift yourself back up to your high lunge. Tons and tons of core work, lots of work through the front leg. Take your time. Notice, breathe, and adjust as you need to. If you have done this balancing sequence the entire time through, your legs are probably getting tired. So take breaks or decide to come back later. Make sure you do both sides. Square your hips, pull the waistline in. You hinge the neutral spine forward. Shift your weight into the front foot. Lift the back leg and then straighten the front leg. Bend your front knee. Take your foot down. Lift the torso back. This one's tough. Or at least it is in my body. You stand up, step into a wide straddle, move your hips, fold the torso forward, round through the spine. Inhale, lift up. Another exercise that we can do for balancing, take your feet to hips with distance, stand up tall. Again, you can have something for stability to the side of you. Keep your left foot and leg strong and engaged. You want ear, shoulder, rib, hip, knee kind of lined up with each other. Take your right leg out to the side, squeeze it back in. You could use a band around your ankles or your shins here to give more resistance. Notice that as the leg goes out to the side, your hip does not lift up, so the tendency would do something like that, and you lose this left side alignment. The left side has to work a lot to keep your torso really, really still. So your left arm may find more work here than you thought it should need. So do a few times, 3, 5, 10 on that side. You switch to the other side. One side almost always feels easier than the other. So instead of being mean to yourself about that acknowledgement, give yourself support, give yourself modifications. Remember, the spine stays neutral with your abdominals engaged. And it's all about the standing foot and the standing leg. If you feel wobbly and you have to catch yourself, it's fine. It's part of the practice. And then you exhale, feet to hips with distance, fold yourself forward, like ragdoll your upper body. Inhale, come all the way up. Acknowledge that active and engaged balancing practices or exercises, like all of the ones that preceded me talking to you right now, take patience, paying attention, and practice. Keep working at it. You'll notice different muscles working. You might find yourself becoming a little bit sore. Also, remember that this is absolutely an abdominal exercise, and it is a mental exercise as well. I can't wait to practice these along on the road trip, and also to hear how your practice for these balancing exercises are going.